You're live.
I'm live. Am I
Yeah.
am I good? Do I look good? I always look good, right? No. Hey, welcome to Couch on Fire podcast. This is Rob. That is Alex. How you
Pointed the
doing?
wrong way.
Oh shit. Anyway, yes, these videos. I can't see you, Alex. So I don't know what fucking way you are. It's
Rob,
probably the
Rob,
same way every
al-
time.
also, and yeah,
Uh,
we really are. Technical point. Again, camera. Just push it towards the microphone. Aim it more at the microphone. You
well, I
are
can't.
hanging all the
The
way out of the
camera.
frame.
Do you understand the camera is attached to the monitor? So if I'm gonna to hold on,
There's got to be
let
a
me
way to
let me
fix this.
let me just okay, let me try something. Give me one second. Anyway, but so yes, thank you everyone for listening. I just wanted to first thank a viewer. He did a shout out on his podcast. We actually talked a little bit, and I think we're going to be doing a crossover soon. But Voices of Misery podcast. Thank you so much for doing a shout out for us. I appreciate it.
Oh, they
And we
shouted this
will.
out.
Well, he talked about it on his podcast. Talked about
Oh,
doing something with us and everything, and I was just like, that's awesome. So he's excited.
yeah,
I'm excited. We just got to work out the dates, and we'll figure that out soon. So thank you. I just want to say thank you.
awesome.
Anyway, Alex, you know what I was just thinking? How much I love tuna fish and how much I love the dead whales and the tuna fish.
Wah, wah.
was that was that a good segue into what you want to talk about?
What? So I propositioned Rob. I was like, "Yo, we live in a really weird planet. Kraken are still real. Like sea monsters do exist. Uh, the smell, and I've got other things, and I'm not gonna spoil them quite yet. But he
Well,
leads with dead whale in tuna.
real quick, proof. Show me the proof that the Kraken still exists. Where's the
Giant
proof
squid,
at?
done.
Giant squid.
Yeah,
Well, how big is a giant squid and how big is a well Kraken is an octopus, isn't it?
it's a squid
Is it squid?
specifically.
So what's the difference? Like what is like okay,
None.
once you hit that 5 ton, you become a Kraken, or once you're if
No,
you're under
it's
4 ton.
it's not a scientific delineation.
Oh, okay.
But we have this creature that fits the definition of a mythologically large squid that can and will eat Viking ships.
Well,
Uh,
I've I've always been a believer of the kaiju. So I think that there's things underneath this world, underneath the depths of this ocean,
is
that
this some Hollow
will
Earth theory shit? What the fuck?
will it will come out eventually. But that's just me. So I'm not
uh,
saying I'm not
well,
I'm not comparing them to the kaiju,
so
but
yeah, okay. So, the astute and the well-read viewers at home are guaranteed. Like, wait, are you saying giant squid, capsized Viking ships? And the answer is yes. When the Vikings were roaming around, we were in a micro ice age. Everything was frozen, so those deep dark depths, how cold it is down there, the usual habitat of the giant squid, it's like that on the surface at that latitude. So they came up and mistook the shit for a humpback and tried to eat the humpback that it saw on the surface of the water, which was actually the Viking ship. We see great whites do it with surfers. It's the same
well,
thing.
I think people are getting confused though. I feel like the simple-minded people like me would think when they think of Kraken, they think of Pirates of the Caribbean, this giant thing that's like the
It's not
size.
gonna topple a skipjack. Ain't
Yeah,
nothing that big necessarily.
um, I think a good movie that represents a good-sized Kraken is Kong on Skull Island because it to him it was just a regular size octopus, but to us it was obviously this huge giant octopus.
Yeah,
Not octopus, squid. But anyway, so
but yeah,
go on.
a little smaller than that. I think the longest tentacles get up to 80 feet, something
Yeah.
like that. I mean, they're ginormous. They could wreck a Viking trireme. Gone. Those longboats were only 20 feet long at the
What
top end.
what what brought this up? What were you doing? Where you just like fucking squids?
I,
like,
we live in this bizarre planet. And I love finding out these little factoids. Like, we have Leviathan as well. It's a little guy. It's only 118 feet long, but it's a long oarfish. Like, this is a real thing, and it's a sea serpent. It's the definition of a sea serpent. It's 118 goddamn feet long, and that one's apparently a baby. We had one of those wash up on our shores like last year, the year before, over in California, and all these researchers took 20 people to lift the goddamn thing for this photo. And it did rounds on social media, and I'm like, that's a sea serpent. What these scientists have picked up is a literal sea serpent. And then I was like, oh, giant squid, Kraken, duh. So that was the thing.
Well, I see these pictures on Facebook and things, and I always think it's just like some joke. I really do. Like some of these pictures, I'm just like, man, what the fuck? These are photoshopped. Like they'll come across like some little fish, probably about I don't know, half.
And then pull it out of the water, and it's half their torso.
Yeah, it's like it's weird. It's just like no, but I always think that stuff is fake. But obviously, there's actual documentation that it's real. That a lot of this shit is real.
Not Michael Bay. James Cameron himself discovered over 120 species while doing research for the new Avatar movies.
Really? For the new Avatar movie?
Yeah, he did. Well, that's what that whole sub thing was. Like, it was part excursion, part like legitimate science as well. Like, he financed the whole thing himself and was like, hey, scientists, what should I put in this thing? And they were like, take this stuff. But for him, the purpose of the trip was to see this bordering on alien life down there for inspiration for the new Avatar films, because he's got like 16 charted out or some shit.
Damn.
Another fun factoid. Humans have already lost their first interspecies war.
How? Why? What?
So during World War II, this is one of my favorite.
Roll it back. Back. Okay.
This one's one of my favorites. This is a fact. During World War II, Australia felt left out, so they declared war on emus. You know, the giant flightless bird.
Yeah, I know what an emu is.
Yeah, the smaller.
So well, hold on. Time out. Flag on the field.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this. So during that, was it the 40s?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
30s and 40s.
During the 40s, Australia. So emus were a problem, and they decided to do.
Yeah, it was disrupting their agricultural situation. Like, farmers all over the country were like, we've got to kill these fucking birds. They're tearing up our fields. And the Australian legislative body said, sure, okay, we declared war on the emus. And they sent the military out to handle these emus. And commanders in the field were quoted as like, I've never seen guerrilla warfare like this. It's as if they had no leader. Like, bizarre shit coming out of these people. And this is a real event that happened. Like, they poached up at this one particular farm with like a 50 cal Gatling gun in the back of a Jeep, right? And you go, okay, emu, just dunk, 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 and you're done. Well, this herd of emu rolled up, and they scattered the second the thing started to spool. So it was like zzz, before it started going dunk, 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 and they were like, fuck that, and bolted. And they couldn't get him. The military lost. Like, they actually had to cede the conflict.
I just have this image in my brain of like it was like a horror movie. It's really late at night. The car's broken down. There's no more bullets.
I'm gonna get me an emu now.
And and the fog is just rolling in. And you're like, what is that noise? Like run really fast across the street. Like what the fuck was that? Oh my God. And then it's like 1,000 emus just start pummeling. Oh my God. Well, it's funny. You say they're bad for the agriculture, and that's why they were trying to kill them. Well, there's people in this world that maybe we're overpopulated, and we're bad for the for the world, and maybe we should kill. Never mind. That's a whole nother topic.
You're touching on two more that I've got. Uh,
Oh, okay. Go on. Go on.
uh, so we are genuinely like awful, and the rest of the plant and animal life throughout the world basically understands uh, that is the case. The smell of fresh cut grass, okay? It's the smell of summer. Barbecues,
Oh yeah.
kids
Love it
playing
all
in
the
the
time.
yard.
You could buy a candle right now, a Yankee candle of fresh cut grass, because it's a spring, like it's ready for a season change.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
So that smell is actually the plant communicating.
Okay.
You know how like animals
like
have calls that elicit like, hey, there's a dangerous predator nearby. Hide your kids, hide your wife, hide yourself because everybody's getting ate out in here.
so you
Right?
telling me that the grass communicates to the other grass saying, this shit is real.
The freaky deaky sky blade god has come back to call the non-believers. Yes. The spinning blade sky god has come back to litter our homes with the limbs of our friends and family. Hide your kids. That's the smell of fresh cut grass. It's this unadulterated wails of the damned, and it's the funniest thing I can think of. Everybody's
Oh.
so peaceful, they love it. Just summer. Meanwhile, the grass is going.
Sorry, I'm yawning so much. Are you telling me that when you get a house, are you gonna cut grass, or every
Oh,
time you cut
fuck
the
yeah.
grass out?
That's like just because I understand the problems doesn't mean I'm gonna be that guy.
Well, I now thinking
And we
about
do
it,
this
the
for
people-
aesthetics.
Well, now thinking about it, the people that cut their grass, but then feed it nutrients is basically just saying, "Oh yeah, I killed your family, but here's a treat."
Well, not just that. You're forcibly feeding them their friends, family, and neighbors' severed limbs. That becomes grass food.
This just went left.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm still
Dog.
right now.
A dog. I'm not kidding. It's the funniest fucking thing to me. I just the height of like peak human arrogance and
Yeah.
brutal, uncaring irony. I think it's hilarious. I can't describe how funny I think that is. We live in such a weird cosmos. Like, there's no way. There's no way with half of this shit. Did you know we have 30 some odd planetary bodies that are all Earth-sized or greater?
like
Yeah, so everybody thinks about like the 64 some odd moons around Jupiter and Saturn alone as like, oh,
Yeah.
It's a moon. It's a little guy. The vast majority of each set of moons for both those two planets are larger than the size of the Earth.
so.
Those moons are full worlds unto themselves.
I
That's weird, right? We have 30 some odd planetary bodies in our solar system that are Earth-size plus. And we know of 8 of them. And we're
Time.
bitching about a ninth.
Time out. Everyone that's listening right now, this is why I fell in love with Alex Haskins, because we started out with the Kraken, then we moved on to first we started out with whales being in tuna fish, then the Kraken, then we moved on to the grass screaming, the giant emus killing people, then we moved on to grass screaming at each other, and now we're in space, and I fucking love it.
Yeah, dog.
You're speaking my language. For all the people out there, we're speaking your language right now. But the moons, I knew about the moons. I actually knew this. I don't know much, but I actually knew that there's moons out there that are even bigger than the Earth, that have water, that have like pretty much. I feel like we have a better chance of surviving if we go to a moon than we would another planet. If that makes sense,
Uh,
don't you think?
the problem is going to be getting there with those scenarios, because there's a lot of radiation, and those are long trips with rocketry as it stands right now. There are some brand new technologies that we're devising right now that are in like the experiment phase that could trump conventional rocketry in that regard. But out of sheer like, we don't have the gas to make it there. We've got to start with Mars, unfortunately.
We.
Yeah.
So you're saying as soon as we can really get to Mars, that means we can go past Mars?
The tech. Well, that depends on the R&D cycle, and there's no telling with uh, from DARPA to NASA and then to SpaceX, kind of how long that development process will take. But there are R&D projects going right now that would significantly decrease the quantity of time to get to like Pluto and the Kuiper Belt down to a human lifetime manageable level. And those are just normal shit, like the occasional nuclear burst behind the ship or something. Still basically conventional rocketry.
Okay.
And then there's the weird stuff. It looks like Alcubierre drives, and I'll explain what those are here in a second, are
Yes.
our ticket to faster than light travel. Not warp gates, not hyperspace, not any of that bullshit. Literally, we bend space-time itself and ride the wave like we were surfing. At no point do we, the humans or anything there, break the speed of light, because the speed of light is affected by gravity. So if you increase gravity in the front of your ship and decrease gravity in the back of your ship, it forms like this bubble, effectively, of warped space-time, right? You've got a dip. You've seen these black hole dip diagrams, right?
I have.
Imagine that.
I've seen them.
Wrapped
like
around. Yeah.
Yeah.
Put one of those in front of a rocket ship.
Okay.
An outside observer would not be able to tell the difference that you weren't going faster than the speed of light, but all objects and persons within the craft are actually not. In fact, you could manage doing this without any propulsion at all other than the bubble and surfing. And it's faster than light travel. Effectively. It's literally cheating the system, because
Well,
you're changing
I
what the speed of light is around you based on gravity.
I have those words. Well, the only reason why one of the things that we do on this podcast, and I love, is that we really don't tell each other what we're going to talk about until the time comes. Which is great, because that leaves that pure shockness in it, and so I had no idea we were talking about this. It's one of those things where I've always been intrigued about it, but like hearing it, I don't know. It's just,
We're probably 50 years out from figuring out a capsule that can do that.
Yeah.
At size. And then another 50 some odd years out from like going into production, possibly being a thing.
So I mean, but it's crazy that people have conversations about this stuff, because if really it won't be our lifetime. I'll never fucking know if this is going to happen. I mean, think about it.
Maybe. Well, we said that about the personal computer in this fucking scrying mirror we keep in our goddamn pocket everywhere we go.
Well, so here's a funny thing I think about. Let me scoot down for the video. Yeah, here we go.
Ooh. Yeah, get real close.
Here's a funny thing that I think is crazy. This is time itself. Just, this is what gets me going. So obviously in the 40s, 50s, thinking that someone's ever going to go in space or walk on the moon, was never going to happen.
We've stepped foot on another world. Yeah.
Yeah, we stepped on another world. And the same thing, like we were saying, the personal computer, and then the way we're going with phones. I mean, there's a phone out there you can fold in half. Like, what the fuck? There's things that are, the future is upon us. But with that said, there was a but there was also talks of we should be having by now we should have had flying cars, or we should have had hoverboards, or we should have things that, well, legit hoverboards. I know there's something out there, but like actual like retail, you can buy them right now, hoverboards. Um,
I could probably put something together that would function that way. Um,
yeah, but why aren't like? Do you think that? Yeah, we jumped a little bit with technology, but do you think that with the knowledge that this world has, not just saying the world, not just the United States, why aren't we more advanced?
we have flying cars. That's the thing. You know what the problem is?
What?
Bureaucracy. It's the red tape. Meeting the safety requirements of both the Motor Vehicles Administration for highway safety standards is mutually exclusive to the FAA and all comparable organizations throughout the world, their flight safety requirements. It's a mutually exclusive set, and you can't get them to, like, there's no gray space between them to ride that line and go, all right, this meets both sets of requirements, period. No, neither side of you can argue with this. This is a viable, safe product that we can sell now. They can't clear the hurdles of the safety requirements.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, no. There have been 12 separate companies that have tried now, and I don't think any of them has succeeded. I think there's one still in contention. We should hear something about that in early next year, if I'm not mistaken.
I, I love the thought of space. I really do. But why aren't we doing more exploration
Here.
under the water? Yeah,
Oh my
here,
god.
or not even just under the water. Just how deep can we go? Or like, there's more.
We we can't properly date the Sphinx. We have no idea when that was actually created. We have a lot of evidence that says that wasn't Egyptian. That it was whatever dynasty existed in that geographic location prior to the Egyptians, they made it. And we don't we don't have any evidence that anybody actually existed prior to that other than the Sphinx.
Well,
We can't date it.
here's a theory I've always said that. Okay, so 1,000 years from now, we'll build monuments. We'll build things. Kind of, I don't know,
Trump's
like
Great Wall.
basic. Ba- Basically, I've always thought that the Earth just recycles. Like there's a lifespan. So basically, at the beginning of time, like the world wonders. Okay, the sphinxes, the pyramids, all these things, the things that we find in the ocean of Atlantis, all these things. This was a community like that was so far in advance, an alien race that was so far in advance, but for some reason they treated the Earth bad. So there was a big reset, and now we're doing it all over again. And then in 100, 200, 300 years, they'll just hit reset again, and then
Check this
you
out.
know,
So that greater cataclysm idea,
yeah,
the one, like the one that spawned the idea of Noah's flood, and is
yeah,
present in every culture
yes,
around the globe. Uh, there's actually a mounting body of evidence suggesting that that actually did occur, and that it was an asteroidal impact from the Torrid meteor stream during the Younger Dryas Ice Age.
but
It's called the Younger
okay,
Dryas impact hypothesis.
not to throw some biblical things at you right now, because I know how much you love biblical stuff. Um, so I believe that. I do
Yeah,
believe that 100%. The thing that's a little far fetched is like, how did Noah know about this, or were they, or
we
was
weren't
this,
looking
or
for the
was
right stuff,
what do you mean?
honestly. So we saw um, there's more recent asteroidal impacts and meteor impacts leave very specific evidences, uh, and something large enough that would cause a global flood event uh, as is being suggested, would have to have a pretty big impact. And there's no real impact layer in the soil record anywhere. Not that we can see. And that was the problem. We didn't see like ash, dust, soot, grime, molten spot in like the all the way up north Canada when it was where it was supposed to, the most likely spot for it to have caused the impact. But it was an ice age.
It was an ice age.
That was ice. It didn't hit the ground. It can't have deposited into the ground. It did, however, utterly vaporize massive soil layers and create microdiamonds out of it. Microdiamonds that can be found all over the planet at that specific layer. Literal microscopic diamonds in like little sphere shapes.
So you're saying these are the proofs that this is happening?
Yeah. We weren't looking for the right stuff to justify the plausibility of a cataclysmic impact event, but more and more evidence comes in every single day suggesting that is in fact what happened.
Which is the fear that we've talked about before on this podcast.
We don't have any ability to stop it.
Yeah, I was gonna say if this is meant to be, it's meant to be. At any given moment, you know, I've at any given moment a giant asteroid can come and hopefully Bruce Willis will go up there. Hopefully Bruce Willis will go up there and save us.
Or Chuck Norris descends from the heavens. Boom, 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 boom. Sorry. That was a throwback.
But no, definitely. So, asteroid hits the Earth. It happens.
And wipes. Yeah.
It just
reset button.
Like, I really wish there was a NASA television channel.
There is actually.
Is there really?
Yeah.
Why? Maybe not for the common man, but for the person that's rich that pays for that cable package. Because
no, you can go on and watch the live stream from the ISS from multiple camera feeds right now. Okay. There's some in the Johnson Center. There's some for every press conference. That information exists and is published.
Well, I just want to know because, like you know, I'm sure asteroids fall to Earth like almost every day.
Yeah,
I'm sure there's something. It's like, oh, something came in our atmosphere. It's okay.
Yeah, meteorites of scary size, in fact, up to 5 meters, enter our atmosphere all the time. We have no concept that 90% of them even fall, due specifically to the fact that they'll just explode or burn up, and ain't no camera pointed that way. Or the sky's too bright right then because sunlight. You know, it's daytime and we can't see the explosion.
Yeah.
Or we're asleep through the explosion.
Dude, that would be something. I mean, well, then a shooting comet.
Shooting star, yeah.
Is that an actual star? A comet shooting?
A comet is not a shooting star. It's its own phenomenon. It's a tiny little rock, about a kilometer across usually, but some get bigger and some get smaller. That had this hugely elliptical orbit around the sun, and go out to like the Kuiper belt or the asteroid belt, and loop back around the sun from there. And they'll pass within visibility distance of Earth during its long orbits. That's what a comet is. A shooting star is a meteorite burning up in the atmosphere. And the ion trail that it leaves as it super cooks, re-entering at a really bad angle. It'll just vaporize the dust.
I've seen a lot of shooting stars in my day, and I'm still yet to get these damn wishes.
When you wish upon a star, God isn't listening.
No, but Disney is. And Disney is God. So,
they're trying to be Jesus.
Prove me wrong.
Good God. There's a lot of other crazy stuff I could get into.
Well, you said something to me about these killer whales. Let's talk about these killer whales.
Okay. We're at the 30-minute mark. Do you want to transition? Do you want to save that one?
We'll save it. You know what? We'll do
Okay.
a part 2 sometime in the next couple weeks.
Okay, because I've got more stuff I can pile into this Earth
Yes.
is weird action.
Yes, that's fine. That's fine. You know what? But now I know, so now I'll be prepared, and I'll have fucking shit.
Okay. Okay. Don't look at fungi.
Okay.
Dibs. And that one's fun because it's hacking and identity theft and all the crazy fun stuff we're like
Listen,
freaking out about right now is so routine. It's not a big deal.
I'm a fun guy.